recording Mrs. Ryan.
Yay, that is... The outside sound.
Normally just kind of just really like a little kid.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, Paul KRAMER Auto Kennel.
So
there we
excited.
go. Hello, Mrs. Ryan.
Hello, hello.
Oh my goodness gracious! I know we're all over the joint here. Well, there's our first
Nothing's
problem.
on.
There we go.
I don't have my camera.
Hello. I know. Look at us. We're all out of sorts.
What a mess.
I know. Paul KRAMER's here taking pictures of us. It's so exciting. I think we're getting posted on Facebook or the
Yay.
Instagram or one of the things.
Good.
Totally good.
Good.
Totally and completely
Bring
good.
it.
Get situated here.
Here we go.
Welcome back. It's a new week, Mrs. Ryan.
Yay.
It's Tuesday. It's a new week. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. We did have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
I can't for the life of me remember what we did now. Do you remember?
I remember Breakfast Club and going to Malibu, and I don't remember anything else, but I know there was other
well,
stuff.
that's, yeah, no, I mean, you probably just got it. We, was Malibu Kitchen?
Yeah.
Gosh, that seems like 2 weeks ago.
Yes, it does.
Stop.
Seems like forever.
That was, all right, so Breakfast Club on Friday, which was great. We saw a lot of people we hadn't seen in a long time, which was nice. It was like some of the OG people came back, as well as a mix of new people. And then Saturday, yeah, we did go to Malibu Kitchen. I remember, I forgot, with Eric Williams and the Golden Ticket, and Barry with the Sentimental Journey.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
And then I don't think we did anything Sunday. I think we laid low. Is that right?
We laid, yeah, I've been in bed for a day, so I guess that would be Sunday.
Well, I mean, why not update everything else? How are you feeling today? I can ask that, right?
You can, yeah, sure. Not great, but same as before. I'm powering through.
Yeah, with a big smile
Feel
on.
horrible. Yeah.
I have to say that I've gotten a lot of PMs for you've probably gotten tons too. I've seen some public as well, but messages of support for you and people applauding the way you're, not even the way you're dealing with this, but the way you're talking about it. You know what I mean? The way you're being so open about it. And I think that, we gave you credit for it on Thursday. I feel that the credit should continue on because you do this every single day and it's tough.
Well, thanks. I feel like on a karmic level, energetically speaking, that is why I'm getting worse. So that I can sit here with a bigger smile and be more positive because I'm not inherently a positive person.
Yeah.
So I only feel better when I don't feel like a dick and when I feel happy. So it's literally only hurting me to not be nice. So sorry if I'm not nice to anyone else.
Don't you often feel better after talking about it though too? Like after feeling stupid for a minute, talking about it on the show and, blah, 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 feeling like you're whining or whatever. But then afterwards, don't you feel a little bit better having let people in on what you're going through so that you're not alone?
I feel better hearing from people when that happens. I didn't get the PMs and stuff that you did. I don't have a network like that's outreach worthy there that does that. So I don't always feel
we should work on your network then, because the support system is, if we've
it's
learned
super
anything in
important.
life, a support system is awfully important.
I'm recalibrating that as we speak. It's important.
Good for you.
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad you're spending time on it.
It's important. It's everyone should find their, one of the things I was listening to was like a podcast. I think it was actually Candace and Casey who
Casey Neistat, right?
Casey Neistat and Candace Neistat, who I have to say, and I want to learn more about them, but they're so inspiring. She is so inspiring to just listen to, because I feel like if she lived down the street, we would get coffees and have that conversation of I just think some of us are in a weird place in our worlds where we don't necessarily fit in, and especially those of us that are married to people that don't fit in, it's harder to not fit in. I don't know. But she seems to jump on that train a little bit.
I wonder if you're not similar and don't know it.
I'm starting to know it more.
Because one of the things I hear is, oh, do you want to get coffee? I mean, that's a thing that pops up a lot of times is, people want to get coffee with you.
Yeah.
Whether they actually do it or not, whether they have the guts to actually do it or not. But
They do
oh,
not.
I'd love to get coffee with you. I see all that on the social as well.
Well,
People chiming in.
yeah, I heard from an old friend the other day. It's all coming around. So, but I like hearing. It makes me want to be better at this. Hearing people like her be articulate about what they're dealing with, because it sounds.
She's pregnant, right?
She's pregnant now.
And a
I think
business
she's like
owner.
6 months. Owns like multiple businesses that are at least one of them, if not all of them, are female run and orchestrated. And Casey's so supportive, but he's an artist in his own right. So
He's doing all his own thing. He's got multiple businesses and platforms his own self.
yeah, and some of them are great, and he's enjoying that process. But like hearing them on that podcast and hearing her be like, I get 15 minutes with you a week. Like, this is a big deal. And I'm like, I know what that means. And that does not make sense when you work from home with someone who also works from home. And that seems to be similarly struggled. And
For example, we had a date to watch some television at, I don't know, call it 6 o'clock last night or something like that. And the moment we sat down to do so, and this was maybe even my idea, the moment we sat down to do so, I felt unproductive. I was like, I should be working in the studio. There's other things I should be doing to work towards our goals. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't do it. And we stopped, and I came out here to the studio, and you went into the other room and watched TV. And it was like, I felt bad about that. But at the same time, I didn't, because it's like, you gotta, if you want something, you gotta go for it. You gotta go for it.
Here's the one saving grace I will say that I have as a bonus wife over that. I went to bed. I had the TV on, but I was asleep. So like anytime that things like that happen and like you're not feeling like you feel, and rightfully so, you're so good about this of like,
I'm motivated on this. I never intended to do this. And now that it's become something that I kind of sort of internally, secretly always wanted, I'm going for it.
Well,
I had no intention of ever doing this in my lifetime. It was sort of, this came and went when I was young.
Yeah.
And I never thought it would come back around. And where we are now is like, oh, I just, how can you not go for it?
Well, you should, and just.
But it's for us.
And I know that. And so for the record, anytime that you're doing anything with this stuff and with the show, like I am recouping energy and meditating or sleeping.
That's
so
awesome.
Please don't feel bad.
Those are all important things, by the way.
Yeah.
I consider all of those things better than just sitting and watching television.
Yes,
because they're more therapeutic, they're more beneficial.
I wanted to clear that up so that no one watching thinks that I just go in the other room and watch TV when I'm bored.
Yeah, I didn't mean it like that. I did say that. I didn't mean it like that.
Well,
so what happened with The Bachelor anyway? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm
just kidding. Hey, how about this? Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, August 7th, 2018. It's about 8 minutes in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I feel like that was a lot of hellos and a bit of update, so we'll cross that off. Let's see. We should probably come up with a name for this quest to get Letterman here for the 30th, and then come up with a card and a graphic for it and the whole bit, because as of right now, I'm just saying, ooh, we have an update, which is, we haven't heard anything. But I didn't really expect to. I don't really expect to at all, is the truth of it. But yet, I know that it could and probably will happen at some point. Do you know what I mean? I think this is a very realistic thing, because I can see it. I've already seen it. I've already had the interview in my mind, like in a weird way, but it's been very, very real, and that's how I manifest things in my life. So I do think it'll happen, but we haven't heard shit.
I feel it in the air. It's going to happen.
That brings me, Mrs. Ryan, to the question that is on everyone's mind all across the world, not even the country.
The world?
I think we have more people watching internationally than actually here in the country.
Well, I'll say hi to my Aussie friends, because that's awesome.
Well, the question they're all wondering is, what's going on, Mrs. Ryan?
Okay. Did you know, Mr. Ryan, that Delta is testing a 3-course economy meal service on its international flights?
No, but I can tell you that it worked in the 70s and 80s, so it probably will work again.
So much of the news I read felt like a redo of the 60s, 70s. This is what's happening.
I don't mean to get a little too heady, but there is a saying that says, he who controls the past controls the future. He who controls the present controls the past. I feel like, luckily, this is where being a historian works into my play. I feel like I'm just coming into my time in life. I've spent a life of not really feeling like I fit in. I've always fit in places, or sort of fit in places, but I've never really felt like it. And I'm starting to feel like it now. Yeah. Because I want to combat the way the world's going with the old shit. And I still remember it and nobody else does. So me and Delta, let's go.
I see it in you. I've been slowed down. I understand all of that stuff. I like it.
Okay.
To that, though, what I will say is that probiotics, the first studies come out linking probiotics to foggy-headedness, when probiotics were supposed to be the panacea to clear up your gut. And now...
Well, they may clear up your gut.
Well, this study was like, if it pollinates the wrong place with whatever it does,
the
whatever
cultures
it makes,
and all the stuff,
yeah, it could cause problems. So it's like, it wasn't tested necessarily on everyone.
Yeah. I come back every time you bring up one of these, I always go back to, it's the story that sucks because people are looking at the wrong thing, because it's your thoughts that control the stuff, not the stuff. You know what I mean? Just look at the placebo effect. If it works once, it works always, folks. That's my opinion. Only my opinion.
Wow.
So this is one of those things. You know what I'm saying? We let it go. People are looking in the wrong places for things. I believe everything's going on up here. So if you want to make stuff happen, fix it, or make it worse, whatever you believe it's going to do is what it's going to do.
I don't disagree with you.
So my point is, like, when people believe in that thing, that process, whatever it might be, in this case probiotics, it works. And then the moment they start to see holes in it and poke, and then start to and then it doesn't work anymore. Surprise.
I do agree. There was a similar study about regular vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried that out on myself. I've done that study of, like, do I feel better when I take vitamins or not?
Right.
And I don't. So I don't typically take them. So it sounded a lot alike.
I believe that all of these things can be a benefit.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go buy vitamins and you shouldn't take vitamins. That's not what I'm saying. I believe that your head has a lot more to do with it than just the product. I think it's a match.
I agree. And that's why I think knowing what you need, like knowing what your body needs, is helpful always.
Knowing yourself, yeah. That's the hardest part.
This is one for the East Coast. There's a new kind of tick for the first time in 50 years.
I saw the headline. I didn't click on the story. Lay it on me.
It's got like an Asian history. It's an Asian long-horned tick.
Now we're treating people to be upset. Yeah. Let me guess. Is it North Korean tick?
I don't know. It didn't say that.
But you take my point.
Yes, I do. And so I'm putting all of this in that category of, like, just read a little deeper.
Yeah.
But on the good part of how that happen, of things that happen out of being too myopic, UC San Diego School of Medicine successfully created spinal column neural cells that regenerate to do other things. They can serve a multitude of places in the body.
Is that a question?
No.
Oh, no. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? No.
No, they can. I forgot a word.
It's an old movie now, so people won't get. It's a Happy Gilmore reference. She doesn't eat pieces of shit for breakfast.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah,
I forget
Shooter
that
McGavin. Thanks. Yeah. I know. I knew you were giggling. That's why I was like, all right, I should probably explain this so that it's.
It's a movie thing. It's a super neat, like, idea for health.
This sounds incredible, but I feel like we could have kept it at the incredible, and now we've gotten it to, wait, what? You said they've come up with new, whatever, cells maybe? Or some sort of...
They've built a neurological system, like we were talking Petri discs, like making meat and stuff.
Yeah.
That they've built a spinal column that creates neural cells that differentiate properly. So that apparently, as far as we've gotten, is like neural cells create neural cells, and now it's like they can create stomach cells and brain cells and spinal column directives. And
wow, okay, yeah. So this is made very deep, more so than I understand. I thought, yeah, that's amazing. That sounds incredible.
It's a super big deal.
Yeah, forgive me. It sounded like, they've created ways to bridge the gap in a severed, you know what I mean, at a cellular level. They're not that, but that's what they're going for, right? This is a step closer towards that.
Yes, this is pre that.
Bravo. That's pretty cool.
And the last one is a fun follow-up that you know about. HGTV bought the Brady Bunch house.
I read that.
They're supposed to refix it. I think it's
it. HGTV, I think that's kind of their
deal.
They refix it.
They're supposed to renovate it so it's back to its original 70s stature.
Yep.
I did not know that Lance Bass was originally bidding on this house, and I would have loved to have him be a neighbor.
Isn't that interesting? For what? Do we know what purpose? Like to actually own and live in? Not to live in, but probably to own and have as a novelty.
I don't know. He was on Twitter about it.
I like Lance Bass. I think he stands for some good stuff.
I used to have a crush on him.
Paul said Airbnb. That's right.
I bet
but honestly, that's what, when we talked about it joking around, that was what we said. We thought, spend a night in the Brady's, whatever. And then we're like, well, that's a business for how long?
Yeah, it's like apparently the second most photographed house.
Behind what? Like the Nightmare on Elm Street house?
The White House.
Like, really?
Yeah, it's like
holy
legit,
criminy.
like up there.
Good grief. And it's literally, it's blocks away. If you were to draw, you can drive there on this thing here. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm excited about that because now we know what's going to happen to it. It's going to go back to Brady-rific. They're probably going to put the AstroTurf and the lawn and the whole bit.
They might.
That's awesome.
Super neat.
Yeah.
Yay.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with the inside too, because it was never a match for the show.
Oh, yeah. I think they might film there, it said. So, we might see the inside.
Well, I'm sure they'll film at least the process of it. I don't think you can film in that neighborhood on a regular basis.
Okay. Then we'll see.
You know what I mean? Because it's very, very residential.
Yeah,
Obviously, they shot there for the show, but I think you could do that amount. You couldn't set up and shoot the new Brady Bunch TV show at that house 24. I'm saying this from somewhat of experience because one of my first gigs ever was as a production assistant on the Martha Stewart show when she used to, because I lived in the town where they did it, and she used to do it at her house. This was before they had a production.
Oh, yeah.
It was still a production facility. Don't get me wrong. It was not just at her house.
But it was at her huge, beautiful home.
Yeah, and not at the studio in New York. Although it was all the same stuff, but it was the same thing. She got chased out of the neighborhood because it was like, hey, yeah, we said, because they were paying. They were paying exorbitant amounts every whatever to shoot in Westport. So they were paying the fees, and the town was getting the money. But it became like the neighbors and the production trucks and the sound and the noise and people showing up at 6 o'clock. It was just enough is enough.
Yeah.
And I don't see Studio City residents in Los Angeles tolerating that for one day, let alone for a lot.
Nope. Totally.
Well, that's a cool story, Mrs. Ryan.
Thanks.
So that's it?
That's it.
Well, that has been What's Going On? Oh, great job, Mrs. Ryan. I say we take a break and bring in Paul Kramer when we come back. How's that?
Autokennel.
Yeah, he gave us we've got a bunch of gifts from him too.
I'm so excited.
Should we? Yeah, we'll wait till you're in here for that. We're going to take a little break and more after this. Paul Kramer will be here. Come right back. More to come.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill Murray. Hey, wait up. Let me catch up to you.
Hey, Paulie. Nice running into you out on the street.
Last person I thought I'd ever run into. It's great to see you.
Well, great to see you.
How you doing?
Right now, I'm just loving the way that I'm walking, baby. When life is feeling sweet, it has a certain beat. Everything's groovy when you're walking down Happy Street. Sometimes it might seem dark, same path, same block, same park. But when you light your light, you're walking down Happy Street. When things ain't cool, here's my real simple rule. Why not just change your point of view? And when you know, hey, that's the way I should roll, all you gotta do is just take a step outside. It's so great to be alive, smiling at those you meet when you're walking down Happy Street. Hey there, tall, pale, and handsome, Mr. Lee, oh, Mr. Will Lee. We're walking with some bottom now. Hey, you with the bone, Mr. Malone. Hey, Mr. Tom Bones Malone. 56, Aaron. Hey! That is good enough to eat right there. I bet I could do better with a little bit of walking piano.
Mon plaisir, monsieur.
This is a cool guy. His hat is never on backwards.
No kidding. That's Anton Fig.
Boy, that sounds right to me, doesn't it? Does that sound right to you or what?
I love it.
Timber! Take a step outside. It's so great to be alive. Smiling at those you meet when you're walking down Happy Street.
That's it.
Awesome.
We're back.
Great.
What's up, Paul Kramer?
Not much. Good
Thanks
to
for
see
being
you,
here,
Ryan.
man.
Thank
So good
you,
to see
Jay.
you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks, man.
And like I said before, amazing job with the set.
Oh,
This
thanks,
is so cool.
man. Thanks. What?
I
Thanks for
want. I just
noticing.
want someone to put this in my bedroom. You like come into. No, I'm not going to do any recording.
Yeah, no.
Just to feel important.
Just looking at it every day.
It
Change
is.
your life.
It's a wild thing because, well, you haven't seen it with the lights off, but when the lights are off, this is just a black box. It's like a little
yeah.
black box theater. So you walk past it, and it's not really a thing. And the way our place is set up, you can just walk past it, and it's sort of its own little alcove.
Oh, yeah.
And you kind of, there's just whatever,
I just
storage or something
picture
in
coming
there.
home, you know, like how's my day kind of conversation with your wife. Imagine if like we're gonna have that, but we got to go into the studio.
Yeah.
Honey. So we're gonna have our day in the studio.
Totally.
Take a little drive, and then we're like, all right, so when we get home, we should talk.
Exactly.
And this is where we sit to do it. Well, welcome here. This all happened kind of quickly. We had a conversation at Breakfast Club last week, and we said, well, gosh, I want to get you in here. And you said, well, let's make that happen. And
Yeah.
here you are. So here's two guys that made that happen quickly.
No, I'm excited. Like you mentioned, you said, are you comfortable doing this? Believe it or not, like even when people do a photo shoot of a car, I don't get asked a lot. I don't go out and seek it a lot. It's not that I don't want to. I just don't. I'm so consumed with other things, I don't think about it. So, but I did like what you were doing, and when I saw you there and you mentioned it, I was like, that'd be pretty fun.
Well, we love your place. I mean, your place was one of the first places I ever took Mrs. Ryan as far as a Porsche destination because she fell in love with pictures I had shown her. Well, she'd seen it at a car show, but then I started posting pictures of a car, and we'll just get right into it. This little guy,
I love that car.
whose name I believe is Tortuga.
Yeah, it kind of got named by one of the organizers in Mexico
Love
when we
that
did Baja.
When was that?
The first Baja, Targa Baja, was 4 years ago, and it was fantastic because no one wanted to come on it because we were afraid. Everyone's afraid of. My wife didn't come on. She's like, "I'm only going down there if I can bring a gun." I'm like, "You're not bringing a gun."
Oh, that's something.
Oh, my.
Yeah, but as it turned out, it was a small group, and we were, I think, the mayor of Ensenada, the mayor of Tecate, the head of the Baja Peninsula tourism board was there. They were very involved because they were trying to encourage Americans to come back for tourism.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of them saw the car, and he said, it's like a Tortuga. It's got a bunch of shit on the roof.
Yeah.
Like a shell.
Well, and this was 4 years ago, so
Four events. We're coming. Actually, the 5th Targa Baja's in October, end of October.
oh wow, it's coming
I think
up.
It starts up on Halloween.
Oh, cool.
I'm just trying to think. Breaking Bad too. Tortuga was a thing in Breaking Bad, and that
That's
was a
all
little
I
more
can think of,
relevant
too.
than it was a character.
Oh, that's right.
I think it was actually, what's his name? One of the most famous fucking actors of all time. I'll think of it.
I just remember the scene of the animal with the
The Tortuga.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember any of the logistics of real life, but I remember that onesie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's what it was like in Mexico. Now, who puts on that event?
Dave at Thierry.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to go down to Mexico. Well, they used to go down to Mexico and they did a Grand Prix for street cars, but it was, I mean, like race cars. It was really bitchin'. It was in Ensenada.
They would go do it, or they would go to a race?
They would go do it and drive it. So what it was they set up a street, like a Monaco kind of F1 style street race.
Long Beach, even?
Yeah, like Long Beach. And they were like club races. I mean, the cars, I remember I was getting into BMWs, and the BMW guys I know were going down there that were club racers. And it was just a really cool event to go club race. I mean, it's one of the few times you can go feel like this rock star racing on the streets in a real circuit.
Yeah.
But not be a pro racer where you couldn't get into Long Beach.
I was just going to say, like, we've probably all driven or been taken on a lap around Long Beach.
Right.
I can't imagine that's the same when you're pushing your own car at the limits around Long Beach.
In fact, they used to do one at the, not El Toro, but the Testa Marine Base when it was still going. They set up a street course there, and a lot of us got to club race on it. It was pretty cool.
For autocross?
No.
Oh, really?
Like Coronado used to have the vintage races down in Coronado.
Yeah.
It was just like that.
No kidding.
And they did it down in Ensenada. So then what happened was, for whatever reason, that I never actually got to go down to Ensenada. I had friends who did it, and they were trying to talk me into it. This is when Baja California was, perceived as basically southern California, with more free flowing alcohol,
Point Break, and all that those days.
It wasn't what you think of now. And then Dave started bringing a group of. This is before. There's now all these Targa Bajas, and there's 20 different rallies going on all over the country. And before that was popular, Dave in the early 2000s, late 90s, 2000s, would bring some of his clients, and they would go down to Mexico. And basically, it was a free-for-all. The Highway 1 had just been opened up. In fact, I remember one of the cars that we owned, our friend who owned it before us, he was driving 160, 70 miles an hour down on the new Highway 1 after they paved it down there. He sent me pictures.
Well.
This is video before phones, when you actually had a video camera being held by someone in the passenger seat.
Holy cow.
And it was kind of a...
In what kind of car? I mean, how old a car?
It was an 84 turbo Mexico blue, fully modified. I mean, throws flames. Just
okay, so it was built.
Kind of like Derek's car, but wide. I mean, it was it was obnoxious. I mean, when you looked at it, it was one of those cars that you got in it and you became an asshole. Just like that.
That's what happens.
You're obnoxious, yeah. I mean, because you hear it and you could see flames throwing. Like you're in the rearview mirror and the flames would come out the back. Anyway, so I had wanted to go down to that, and and it just got to the point where timing wasn't right, and then when things in Mexico weren't as hospitable for tourists, he stopped doing it. So they waited and waited and waited, and finally 4 years ago, or actually it's coming the 5th year,
right?
The timing was right, and the tourism part of Mexico was really excited to have us, and it's cool because when we do go down there, we feel like royalty.
I've watched the videos. It looks like you're taken care of, and that's the part I can never wrap my head around, because I wouldn't want to go because it's not even fear. It's just like, oh man, all the stuff, the same reasons your wife didn't want to go.
Oh yeah.
Back then.
And everyone who goes, this is great.
That's what Derek said too.
You still be normal. I mean, I tell people, don't do stupid things. Like if we walk into Ensenada or whatever, I go with a group of people, especially people who speak Spanish better than I do. and don't look as gringo as me.
See.
It always looks fun. Every video I've seen looks like it's
yours and
fun.
Derek's.
It is.
How many people are going to be on the October one?
A couple years ago, he kind of opened it up, and we had too many cars. It was like 60, 70 cars.
Yeah, it's too many.
It was too many. The first year was great. It was like 28 of us.
I was thinking 20, 30.
But
I
I think
good.
he limits it to 40.
Okay,
and that seems to be a really good number. It sells out. It's perfect. We do the Targa California, which is basically the California version, and that's over 100 cars, and it's really fun, but you don't have that kind of tight camaraderie. Like when you're in the smaller group, you're
all in it together.
Like I remember my dad usually goes with me, and a couple of years ago.
The Ed?
Yeah, the Ed.
We should talk about the Ed at some point in a bit too.
He'll love this.
Okay.
He usually goes on a lot of these rallies with me, and he couldn't go to Mexico. I think it was 2 years ago, and so I went by myself, and I was in. We were in San Felipe, spent the night, and the next morning, flat tire, valve stem broken.
Oh.
And you know, there's a couple guys that'll wait, and I'm like, no, it's Sunday. So you just drive around this little dirt roads that are. I'm looking at Waze in Mexico, which is kind of working. So I finally talked to somebody. He's like, oh, this guy's got a garage. His
You just need one little thing you can screw in there, right?
Well, no, the valve stem broke.
Oh, so you have to actually
Yeah, it
take
was
the whole
rubber,
thing.
and take the tire off and fix it. So he says, oh, this guy down there, he's got a shop. And, like, shop is sort of, his house is in the back, and it's
With a
sort of like
lean-to.
sort of, it's not even easy ups, it's like thatched kind of thing. And he has a tire, his tire machine is just a thing to stretch. It's very rudimentary. So I'm like, hey, he's getting ready to take the tire off. I'm like, hey, let me just mark it. Like, that's our version of
For the
balancing.
balance, yeah.
Just take a piece of
So that you
chalk.
know that it's put on the same place.
Same place. And then he's underneath there. He's like, oh, your sway bar link's broken. He's like, I'll go get my friend who welds. So he brought that guy back.
Oh.
And literally it was an hour and $25. They welded my sway bar link, got a new valve stem on. And, you know, he was...
It sounds like a Top Gear thing
was
to
great.
me, you know?
But then at that point, everyone's left.
Yeah, I was.
Sounds like a Top Gear thing.
Yeah, and it's exactly. And then my whole goal was, I just want to get in front of the last tow truck because there's 2 or 3 tow trucks that come in our group. So I figure if I can get in front of the last
Then
one,
you're at least in safe zone.
yeah. If I break, you know, so I am going. You basically have one road that goes along the coast, and then there's another left turn road where you go to the Federale checkpoint, and that goes straight to Ensenada. And that's where I'm going back to. So I am going like as fast as the car will go, which is 120. Like the drag coefficient of all the shit on the roof. Just,
That's what I was going to say.
That's it.
You're fully
like
equipped
I'm at
when you do
5,000
that, right?
RPM, but it won't go any faster.
You were going that fast with shit on the roof?
Oh yeah, skis.
Holy
So
But your
cow.
car's also loaded with shit too, right? I mean, this
yeah.
is not a
Oh,
lightweight
no.
excursion.
It's my luggage and everything. And
I'm just trying to get the
And I'm
visual.
just going as fast as I can. But there's no one on this road. I mean, it's a really beautiful road built for Americans to
Yeah.
come to these resorts, and they're not coming anymore.
Wow.
And so then I get to, you know, this Cloverleaf, get to the you know, every time I stop at the Federale stop, you know, they got their batons tapping the shit on my roof. And I remember one guy's like, you know, he's pointing something in the back. He's like, Ropa. And I freeze and forget Ropa's clothes. And I'm like, I don't have a rope. I'm like,
I would have gone there.
yeah, like I you know, and he's tapping stuff, but eventually they kind of realized I was just a dumb American.
That's the thing. It's
around
weird.
this
You almost
country.
need to bring your weirdo card.
Oh, yeah.
When you drive a car like
Which
ours,
is-
it's just like, hey, look,
Yeah.
this is I'm into weird shit.
Yeah. Well,
That's my
one thing-
get out of jail
yeah, the
free.
one thing-
I'm not doing anything. I'm just weird.
And the thing in Mexico is the police, the federales and the municipal police are great. I mean, they got a sense of humor. They want to hang out with you. I mean, with the guy, one of the federales had a Dodge Charger, and he was trying to keep up with us, and he blew up his Charger. It's freaking awesome.
It's cop charger.
That's
His cop Charger,
hilarious.
American Charger. Because I'm watching him, and like Derek and those guys with the full race cars are hammering behind him going over the hill from Ensenada to San Felipe, and it's just twisty, and they're hammering it. And I'm going as fast as I can, but you know, me and my dad and all the shit's in there, and there's like, dur, dur, dur. And all of a sudden, just like Formula One, you just see the whole front of the Charger kablooey.
Oh, man.
Just he pulled over the road, blew his motor. Then we went down to finish the little mountain road, stopped, gathered up, and when we came back, he's sitting there kind of going, "Keep going." But they're awesome. But at the checkpoints, those are not federales. Those are military. Way less sense of humor.
That's not fun.
Checkpoints. So what are the checkpoints?
I don't know.
I mean, is it a state line or
No, it's
something?
not state line. And I don't know if it's cities, but every so often on
province
these
or
roads, it's sort of like when you come up from San Diego on the 5 freeway or coming in from California for agricultural.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just but
There's
they're-
just stalls
but
you
they're
have to
all
stop.
military with guns, and they do not smile. They do not care that you're driving all this weird stuff. They just
They don't take weirdo cards either, probably.
no, you just all your whole goal is to not have them take you to another checkpoint. And no one
Right,
does.
don't pull you out of line
Yeah,
to
you
go
don't-
wherever
you
you
don't-
need
like,
to go.
I was-
Even if you're not doing anything wrong, you just
Oh, yeah.
don't want that nonsense.
And I had GoPros on the car, so everyone's kind of lined up. I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity. I'll do like a little U-turn in the dirt, and I'm gonna go kind of between the two cars, so it'd be a cool video filming that.
They're like,
So
what
I
is he
finish
doing?
that, and next thing you know, I see they run like little GI Joe dolls. Comes over there. And he's like, and you're like,
No more of that.
Here's the deal. That's
cool.
actually awesome that you got a warning. Like they are not.
Not a
that
cavity
is my
search.
nightmare.
I mean,
Yeah.
you were saying the one thing you want to avoid.
absolutely. but it is
that
fun.
sounds awesome.
It's
That
fun.
sounds incredible.
You know, I tell people all the time with these cars, they're obviously not practical. They're not realistic for our life, for most people's lifestyle. But if you could find a thing to do with them, whatever that is for each person's different, whatever your thing is. But it's not so much, hey, I want to buy this old car because I have this romantic notion of what I think it's like to have it,
Right.
or I always wanted one, but take it a next step further and go like, how am I going to use that in my life? Like you don't go out and buy a volleyball with no intention of going and playing volleyball.
What a neat item. What a neat product.
Yeah,
I must have it.
Yeah, you know, and it's not, and not everyone's going to love to do what I like to do, which is I love to drive. But some people, Concours is their thing. They really get into it.
Yeah.
Or there are the people that just coveting and looking at in their garage.
Yeah.
If that floats their boat, but
Yeah.
but to not do anything with it and not have an intention with it, that's kind of the part that
I feel
think
that
people miss.
what you're saying is true of life. Anybody can do anything they want to do. Nobody fucking cares. Just
Yep.
don't stop me from doing what I want to do, and I won't stop you from doing what you want to do, you know? I mean, it's really that simple.
Exactly.
I would like to talk really quickly about, I don't know if you both know that you both met a long time ago. You may think that you met Paul at Breakfast Club.
I don't remember.
Yeah, no, and that's okay.
I just know you're
But
nice.
I'm going to be able to refresh your memory by
Okay.
showing you a
How
vehicle.
long ago?
Oh, cool.
Probably about 3 years.
Oh, man.
2 or 3 years. It was when we first got our car, and we went to Autokennel to one of the, I think it was the first or the second leg, and Mrs. Ryan was infatuated with this car right here.
I loved that car.
And you guys talked about it quite a bit, and you explained that it was your wife's car. And
So that was probably 5 years ago.
Is that Jennifer?
That's
it was a
Jennifer.
while ago.
I can't
That's
wait to
Jennifer.
sit down and talk to
That's
that
these
about
lady.
two.
as much photography as you. Like the only reason she didn't know this was because I had GoPros.
Of course.
running, so she did.
But you guys look awesome, and that's in that car, right?
That's in the car. That's what we took our honeymoon in, and that's that
Really?
look she's giving. Oh yeah, she
Cool.
hates flying, and I love driving. And we, you know, when you get married older, it's less about the pomp and circumstance. So I mean, we got married up in Big Bear. It was smaller friends and stuff, and everyone's like, "What are you doing on honeymoon?" And literally, we didn't even think like that's, you know, you go do that afterwards. So I was like, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna stay here for a couple days and go back to work.
Yeah.
And then it was really more, even though we kind of called our honeymoon about a month and a half later, and it would have been earlier, we were just putting a new transmission in that car. But we're just like, I go, hey, what if we like, I've always wanted to do this, just drive as far as we can up Highway 1, and we won't make any reservations, and basically at lunchtime, we'll just figure out where we're going to stay that night. And depending on...
Leave early in the morning, drive up.
Yeah, I mean, we had... The first day, we drove 250 miles. I mean, I was like, okay, let's try to stay somewhere, you know, on Highway 1 near San Simeon. Let's get to Cambria for lunch. That was like... And that was the long... After that, it was like, get up late, you know, 200-mile day, turned into a 150-mile day, turned into a... I think towards the end it was 80-mile days. And there's one place we got to, and we're both like, hey, let's just stay.
Let's stay another night.
Let's stay. If it wasn't for, I think it was Memorial Day weekend or one of the holiday weekends that they were booked, we probably would have just said, all right, we're done. It was outside of North San Francisco. It's a bay. I can't think of it. It's near it's called Nick's Cove.
Okay.
And for the people up in the Bay Area who see this, they'll know what it is.
Oh, okay.
Nick's Cove is on this bay a little bay that's north of San Francisco, a little fishing town. And it's got these old fishing huts that have been turned into really kind of high class like resort. Like,
This sounds
Kind of
awesome.
awesome.
oh, so nice. And there's just and I would get up in the morning, and if Jennifer was just not ready to motivate, I would just take the bug and put GoPros on it and just drive up and down that road. Like, I mean, I do an hour one way, an hour back. I was in heaven.
Wow.
It was great. It was a really cool
That
place.
sounds really fun.
I'm ready to
Yeah.
go back there.
I can't wait to find the name of it.
So yeah, we our other daughter lives in Portland. So first we had this
Cool.
goal. Hey, we'll drive to Portland. Like 2 days into this trip, we're like, there's no way.
But the car was no problem.
No.
Isn't that the
whole-
greatest?
The whole 67 Bug has 20. When we started the trip, 24,000 original miles. Wow. Original motor, never been opened up. The transmission was
Wow.
bad. It was a one-owner car out of Manhattan Beach,
Wow.
and it came on consignment. All the cars I own sort of came on consignment. And I
Has
just-
Autokennel always been that way? Is that the
Always,
model?
yep.
Okay.
It's just me and my dad, and like
The Ed.
the Ed. And it was just, the goal was always to do consignment. I love the cars, love the people, and I just never wanted to get in that position where I was stuck with the car.
It's safer, but it also probably helps you with relationships, I would think, too.
Yeah, it does.
Both the owners and the future customers. I mean, the sellers and the customers.
Yeah, everyone realizes that I'm as neutral as you can get in this kind of purchase, buy, sell situation.
That's kind of what I mean, relationship-wise.
Yep.
So you're like the used car dealer you can be friends with. Because you're the one who said used car dealer.
Yeah, I was once as a joke. Used car salesman.
Used car salesman on
my business cards. I'm hoping I get the next one. I'll do that. But,
It's good to know who you can trust, though. I think that's more of the underlying thing with cars and buying and whatever. Like knowing that you're just like you get it on that level, like that is reassuring to me.
yeah, because all of my friends are people. A lot of them I've met are just through that, and they. And we continue relationships.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You probably almost have the continual relationships with people more like a broker than a used car salesman for that reason.
Yeah,
because you have to keep the relationship. You have to keep the deal solid so that the relationships stay sound.
And a large portion of our cars are cars we've sold, so I know I'm getting it back. Like there's going to come a point that I'm going to get it back. So I better one like it, and two hopefully help them make it better. And not hurt it.
That's true. Somebody who bought a car from you is probably going to bring it to you to sell it when they want to sell it, I would guess.
Yeah, a large portion of our cars have come back.
So that's great because then you've already got the history and now you're just adding to it.
Yeah, I just add
what a
to
neat
it,
thing.
Pictures, and it's nice because I know who the owner is. I know kind of how they use it, and a lot of them I see the car on the events we're doing.
Right. It stays in your community, in your circle.
Exactly. A few go overseas, but not as much anymore, which
That's
I like
amazing.
because I'd rather keep them here.
What do you, Paul Kramer, do for fun? What do you do for relaxation? Because when we were talking during the break there, before the break, we were talking about how we were going to watch TV last night, and I was too motivated to do work stuff. Are you able to relax? And if so, what do you do?
Well, I think I have been fortunate that what I do for work is kind of everything. I mean, I was listening to a thing on NPR coming here, How I Built This is a great program about people who are successful. And I see it over and over again when you're passionate about something. It's like you don't look at it as work. I know it's a bit trite, if you love what you do, you never work another day in your life kind of thing. Yeah. But I keep seeing that theme. It's like, what I do for fun. I mean, I think that's how I started off, is I knew what I like to do for fun. Yep. And it's like, how can that be the focus and underwritten by something that creates revenue that's based on that whole premise? Right. You sort of start backwards. I mean, it works for almost anything. If you like smoking pot, you can work it that way. I mean, it could be for any, occupation, but I love, first and foremost, driving. And I love driving. I love old cars. And I love going to car shows and stuff. But I love driving old cars. I love experiencing. I learned early on that I didn't think I would be in a position to own I had a huge appetite for old cars. And I just realized even if I could financially afford it, it would just be very difficult to own that many cars.
It's a lot of energy to maintain.
Yeah, I just wanted to test drive. I mean, in fact, when I was in college and stuff, I would go on the weekend to local dealerships.
No kidding.
Oh, I would. That for me.
That sounds like you.
I would
this was
drive
me in high school. I can't wait to hear that. Please.
I would just drive them. You'd see something come out, and it could be something that to anyone would think is mundane.
This is me too. I drove every single car that was out in the 90s.
Like when Volvo came out with the R with the manual.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm like, do you have a wagon? And I'm like 22, and like, I really like to drive. And then, we go
just to know, right? Just to know.
Just to know what it was like, just to experience it. For no other reason that I thought test drive. I mean, it was like going to the LA Auto Show. You love that, but can you imagine if you got to drive them after that? So one thing led to another. I thought, gosh, can you imagine if I got to experience all these cars? And I think I've probably driven over 5,000 cars.
Whoa.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And the irony of it all is my dream car, which is a Lamborghini Countach, and I think we talked about it. It's why it's our logo. I know they're horrific cars. I mean, no one needs to tell me.
That's the one you'd look at, right?
It's just, yeah,
That's the one you would park and look at.
I saw a thing on Jalopnik where the guy bought an M1 and put it on his wall. And I'm like, that's it. I mean, it looked really expensive to do that, but I thought that to me would probably be satisfying enough. But anyway, that's the only car I've never driven a Lamborghini of any kind, let alone a Countach.
Really?
But I think
I don't think I have either. Come to think of it, I've never driven a Lamborghini either.
We just had an Audi R8, and I'm checking that as my closest to a Lamborghini because it's
same thing. But, was it a 10, a V10?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
It was. A lot of things are kind of disappointing because you build them up to be something else. And that car was like really great vanilla ice cream.
Nailed it. It's a GTR. They're all for me. It's a technology bowl.
And like people, I'm not really that interested in any cars, including Porsche, that's newer than 2012.
Oh, wow.
I think it just becomes plain to me, and it's not that I don't think they're great cars. I just don't know how they fit my lifestyle.
That's it.
Because I look at them going, okay, we had a 2014 Turbo S. The thing was literally an appliance for speed. It's like chop, mix, frappe, Turbo S.
Well, you're inside.
Yeah, and I remember going to our little local Cars and Coffee at Enderley Center, and I'm just cruising in the morning. It's like a 5-minute, 10-minute drive down the freeway. And I'm like, I was driving that car. I'm like, oh my God, everyone is going so slow. And I turned into an asshole because I'm just because I'm going 115. Like, I mean, when they say, oh, you don't feel like you're going fast, I mean, it really felt. I slowed down to 85. It was so pedestrian.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's just, to me, I kind of it wasn't that interesting to me anymore.
We're cutting down on, essentially, for me, we believe, look, she got sick, life changed. We have different outlooks than we used to. And the journey is very, very important to us now. Mm-hmm. I see no reason to shorten that up.
That's a good point.
Do you know my point?
Absolutely.
So Jay Leno likes to talk about, old slow cars rowing through the gears and getting that long pull. And he's right. I agree with all of that. Our car is too fast for what we do with it. You know what I mean? I wish I didn't have an S. I think someday we'll probably get an older one with less power, because then we can really have fun with it up at the crest or whatever.
Absolutely. For
the same reasons of what you're talking about. I love the new stuff. It's amazing. It's comfortable. It's quiet. It's like you said, you can get anywhere fast and not even know it. But by the way, most cars will take you there now. I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It doesn't work for me. That's not anything I want out of life. Yeah. I want the journey. I want to do the gears. Yeah. I want to enjoy the trip. So, all right, I'm with you on that, but I would go older than 2012.
Well, I mean, partly that for your benefit, you have a 2007 or
5.
2005.
Yeah, ours is 5, yeah. But, late 04 build.
But what's funny is they're just, I remember when they came out, I go, gosh, these are really, really advanced. I mean, the first 997 I drove got to sell was like in 2007.
Right.
And I was like, wow, these are really advanced. But they still felt, my dad has a 996 turbo, and they still felt related, like a cousin of that.
Agreed.
But then when the first 991 I drove, I was like, well, this is a lot different. It just felt dramatically different. And I think they're great cars.
I agree.
And I think to some degree they could be a perfect one car solution for some people. Yeah. Where if you need a car and you want to go to the track and you want to go do the mountains and you don't have a lot of ability and and you want to drive in traffic.
I was going to say, and you're an executive or an agent or something like that. Absolutely.
You literally, outside of caring for adults around, can do pretty much anything with that car.
What felt the most different about it?
About which the newer ones?
Yeah, you just said it felt different.
Insulated.
And it's insulated.
Completely
okay.
And I was watching this morning that little video with Matt Farah and Spike Ferencine comparing the GT3 Touring and the new 991.2T, and it was like saying, which flavor wheatgrass do you like better? I mean, I'm watching it and it's like, it doesn't. I don't get it.
Yeah.
They're really, really great cars and they're really competent. But I think I would just get in it and go, it feels too close to this other flavor over here.
Yeah.
Whereas when I get in a 90s 911 or a 70s 911 or 80s, I mean, they're so characteristically
and it's got
different.
A smell and a feel. And
I joke, my dad goes nuts because I'll come up to car shows and if windows are down, like a bouquet of
Just to see.
Because every car, like BMWs, smell like wet labs. All of them. I don't know why. Like if you go, just next
Is it
time,
the seat foam or something? They always okay.
I don't know what it is. Trap farts or something. But if you go like a good like 80s, 90s era, just take a whiff, and then you're gonna have, that's your base. Then you go smell some more.
It's literally my base. I grew up exclusive. I had one of my first cars was a Porsche, but then I went BMW for all of the years until this yellow car.
E30s. They all.
That's what I had. I started with E30.
Oh,
yeah.
Great car. Like I grew. My first car was a '71 Chrysler Town and Country station wagon, and like that car, that smell.
You do go to BMWs at one point here. I've got some pictures.
Oh,
of
yeah.
a couple.
Yeah.
Let me do your race one first.
Oh yeah.
Not bad.
That's preparing for
And Roadster.
the canyon drive.
Love that.
You don't take a helmet on a canyon drive.
But then
No.
also,
Yeah.
how about this guy?
That's a great shot.
His name's Mr. Magoo. My wife named him that.
Road hug.
I don't know. The first time I met her, first time she came to our shop, and like with all the cars there, and that car was not even finished yet. It was just a roller, but it had like a Sabbath, little sailboat.
Okay.
Remember those old Sabbaths? The little tiny sailboats, like a laser. Like you see little kids at summer camp.
I remember the actual boat.
It
I mean,
it had a Sabbath boat on it on a roof.
Oh,
it was
I
just
thought you were going to see a
storage.
sticker or something. Oh
No,
my
no,
gosh!
it was,
Kidding.
The car was a project. It was in the farthest corner of our shop where we couldn't get.
Isn't that
to
what
it.
you have in the garage of your in the rafters of your
It's a
garage?
sailfish is what we have. Is
Yeah,
that
it's
the same
similar?
kind of thing.
Same
right?
kind, like
Same
a little
thing.
Then, yeah.
2 person
Yeah.
boat. You
Little
know,
summer rental.
You could just picture people in Cape Cod. You know,
I have
doing
nightmares
races
about
and
that
stuff.
boat, but
Her
go
when
ahead.
she was a kid. Yeah.
So we,
Three.
while it was a 20-year restoration, it was
Oh,
took
cool.
forever to do.
That's
Is
a long
that
time.
a 16?
It's a 66 1600.
Okay.
It's the very first BMW two-door sedan delivered to the U.S. #1.
Oh, cool.
Very, very cool car.
Whoa!
It's got a great history. And I'm not into sentimental. Like, I don't keep, like, oh, I hope this goes to a good home. Like, no one's going to demolition derby $100,000 sports. I don't buy that. But, and I don't keep cars because, oh, that was the one that my dog puked in when we first got him back from the vet. I don't do that.
Not for that reason.
But
But
you know what I'm
this
saying.
is kinda neat.
But this one was very sentimental. It was a long build, close friend. The guy who used to own the building of ours. He
Oh, no way.
sort of found the project, or it found him from the original family that owned the car. And he, when he passed away, we sold all of his toys, and we tried to sell it as a project. We didn't know what it was. We just knew it was an old BMW. And all the BMW guys that hang out around our shop, we call them Knights of the Roundel table. I mean, they're just the pontificator. Like, oh, that's for how much knowledge was there. This full BMW think tank. They didn't know what this car was, and we couldn't sell it as a parts car. We couldn't sell it as a rolling project. And finally, the owner's like, "Do you want to buy it?" And long story short, we ended up with the car, and then it sat for another 3, 4, 5 years before we did anything. So the BMW mechanic at the front of our shop, he's since moved out. He had it in his shop for a while. He put a roof rack on it just to store. He's a sailor, to store his boat. And then he ran out of room, and it ended up in our shop. So for years, it would have this boat sitting on it, which
Which is perfect for your shop, though, with all of your
it just had
motif.
nothing. Yeah, I mean, people are like, is it? No, the mechanic ran out of room, and he put a roof rack on this car and put a boat on it. And so it just sat there. So my
weird.
wife saw it. You look across this horizon of cars in our shop. Not that it's a big shop. And then there's this boat sticking up, and she looked at it and she called it Mr. Magoo. And she said, just looks, it's like a Happy Meal on wheels.
Honestly, Mr. Magoo did have that kind
Yeah,
of
just-
car. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
3-box styling.
If a kid drew fridge art, that's what a car would look like.
Yeah.
And
and just if you drew a car in the 70s,
Oh, yeah.
just
yeah, a hole cut out for the wheel.
Yeah.
Little wheel well, hubcaps.
funny.
So that car, it was.
do you still have that one?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that
It's
is
part of
one.
what
That
we
is
call
the one you did keep
We call
because
it permanent collection.
okay.
Nice. That white BMW thing,
Yeah.
you finally figured out what it was and fixed it.
Yeah. So basically, I got to the point where I just felt bad that I sold. Nick was kind of a mentor of mine. He owned the building we're in now. Ended up passing away. He was 69 of cancer.
Oh.
But really, I knew him. Knew him at that point for about 20 years.
Wait a second. Isn't this the guy? Isn't this the reason you do lag?
Exactly.
Now this is a great story.
The first lags were he had bugged me before we opened up Auto Kennel in the early 2000s. Hey, Paul, you're just a very enthusiastic guy. he's like, hey, let's open up a shop. I need a place for my cars. We'll work on them, hang out, all this. And I said, well, Nick, I'm already kind of that way. He found the building. I went and looked at the building, and it's been, that building's sort of historical. The first used Porsche independent shop that wasn't a dealer in Orange County was there. It was Westport Porsche.
No
if
kidding.
you wanted to go do anything Porsche, you had Chick Iverson, there was a Don Burns in Garden Grove. They were just dealers. And then there was Westport, which was a really large, kind of like not Andile, but a independent shop for selling, buying, and fixing Porsches.
This is huge news to me. I come from a town. Westport is where Paul
wow.
Newman lived and where everybody lived in Connecticut.
Yeah, so it was just a cool shop. And over the years, Reggie Jackson owned the building. It was always a car guy's building. And the funny thing is, so many of the guys,
the baseball player, right?
Yeah, Reggie
He
Jackson
was a Dodger.
Yeah, he was a Yankee.
Oh, he was a Yankee. I just remember basketball.
He was
the 3 home runs in one
I think
game.
he was an Angel player.
Oh, maybe it was Angels. Maybe
for
that
a
was.
little bit. But anyway, he's still in Orange County.
He was in the Naked Gun movie. I remember that, and that was an L.A. movie. So maybe it was the Angels.
Yeah, I think it was.
Must kill the queen.
So he'd owned it at one point, and then it was a Jaguar shop, and then over the years, it eventually became a landscape shop. So the landscape company destroyed the whole place. I mean, it was not ready for cars. I remember going in there, and that whole courtyard you've seen before that was paved, it was all dirt.
Whoa.
And he's like,
oh, no way.
I'm like, Nick, how am I going to get these cars across that space? And I knew Nick as a BMW friend. We hung out and stuff, car shows, drives, but I didn't know him like really well. And he's like, well, no, I'm going to fix it up. I'll make it great. And I wasn't ready to commit our business waiting on him. So we leased another building.
He's looking to buy the building and have you rent in the place, right?
I'm going to offset some of the costs.
Right.
We'll have some of our friends in there. He'll have his space.
But you're saying, hey, this isn't going to work for me because...
I just wasn't sure. So we ended up renting a space by the airport for 3-year lease. And meanwhile, we watched him, and he got the place really cleaned up. And then when the time came, I'm like, great, we'll move in. It was fantastic. He got sick. He'd been sick with cancer 2 other times. But the third time he knew, he's like, I remember we were at Cars and Coffee when it used to be at Irvine. He's like, he just got the news. He's like, he was fine, but he's like, this is going to be it.
He was done fighting.
He
got some bad news.
He went in for his PET scan after recovering in remission from one cancer. And that's when they found the other one. And that's when, like, he was always up for a fight. And even that was a fight, but he's like, he knew. He's like,
it's a different fight.
It's weird. Like, I still get goosebumps. I could remember the cars we were talking about, what we were walking by, what we were looking at. And I turned to him and I was like, hey, Nick, because I remember when we went through this the last time he had cancer and he had the PET scan. He's like, hey, it's freaking awesome. I'm done. And I'm like, how is it? He's like, it's not good. And like, he's the most positive person. When you said that, you just kind of like, there's no more air in the room. And I was just, so it was, and at that point, because he'd always bug me like, hey, why don't we do our own Cars and Coffee? You're so busy with all your shit that you're just like.
Sounds great, but.
And as much as I enjoy being around people, I like this. A lot of people overwhelms me.
Same.
And like, I get home, like after our lags, I'm done for like 36 hours.
Yeah.
I can't.
From socialization. You'll go work on the computer or whatever, or alone.
Anything that's antisocial.
We're the same way, yeah.
Like my wife's like, hey, we're going to go see a band tonight.
Nope.
That's not happening energetically.
Unless it's, Yanni.
So that's where that's why we created Breakfast Club. We love Porsche events. We love car events. We still go to plenty, and we'll be going to more in the future. But it was the same kind of thing where we need something maybe a little smaller. Let's just go do a thing and then invite our friends and whatever the heck. And that sort of became Breakfast Club.
It's great because it's also far enough away that you can
weeds out.
You can keep it won't get diluted. And it gives you a destination. Like I planned to come like weeks earlier. And for me that's fun because I had something to look forward to. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to drive up the back way. And
you came Wrightwood, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, great.
And I'm like, because I wanted to test out the transmission, which was just an excuse.
Of course.
And that is probably the best road we have done. I mean, Malibu's fun,
Yeah.
but I think
This is
way more
different-
dangerous.
It's so good.
Malibu, I was going to say there's a lot of variables. This is, you have animals between stops.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's no places for cars to come on and off. You just got to be careful of nature and debris.
Yeah, and my wife and I argue about this. Jennifer and I argue about a plan for Angeles Crest because it doesn't make any sense. Like, no one goes between those 2 points, between Wrightwood. That is not how you get to anywhere else.
Right.
So I was like, what, in the day of autonomous cars, when we don't even own these things, we just Uber with an autonomous driver, get to wherever. But what if we have garages at different ends of Angeles Crest, and the whole place is roped off as a sort of a automotive amusement park?
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything around all those roads is just for us, and our club
becomes a
rents it.
recreation zone.
It becomes
It's thermal.
And I heard a podcast talking about this. It was sort of like horses. I mean, horses used to walk around the streets, and that was pretty normal. And eventually cars took over, and you couldn't have horses in cars. And it wasn't like they just went out and killed all the horses. They put them on ranches. So if you want to go have an experience with a horse,
Yep.
you go to a ranch.
Go to a ranch.
So if you want to have experience with a car, which is not what we will be driving in the future, it's the stuff we experience now.
Right.
You go to
Go to the car ranch.
yeah, just like they have these resorts for track time.
Yeah.
It's just like a track, except for imagine Angeles Crest. You know, the Ryan's Breakfast Club is renting it this weekend.
Oh, I love it.
There's a resort.
I want to put a
chalet.
second floor back on Newcomb's and get the hotel going again. Not for the brothel aspect, but just to have a place where
yeah.
you could stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Mount Baldy Lodge is awesome for that reason. Except the drive is great, but it's short. Like you can get in and out of Mount Baldy no problem. Driving to a destination up in Angeles Crest and then having like a lodge up there or something where you could stay would
yeah.
be badass. I would do it just for fun.
It would be sort of
Yeah.
like these events we
I'd
do.
second that.
But you're just isolated from, because when we do these driving events, you forget you're around the plebes, the people who don't
I
understand
love you.
the automotive community. Like, and,
Right.
and you sit there and it's incredulous. You're like, how can they not understand that we need to go faster and they need to get out of our lane? Like,
No, they do not understand that.
you know, I thought, God, can you imagine if you had this panacea where it was just you guys? In Mexico, to some degree, a little bit of that.
Okay.
The drivers are so much better. Just cognizant. That
We
aware.
find that if you're coming up from the La Cañada Flint Ridge side on a Friday morning, the only contenders you have to kind of maybe I should just say the unknowns. The unknowns are what Danny likes to call the Palmdale 500.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Danny from Newcomb's,
Yeah.
the Danny.
Palmdale 500.
She likes to call it the Palmdale 500 because they're just racing to get down this damn mountain, and they're folding their left front wheel under, as they're coming around.
in cars that are not only
Sentras
designed,
and pickup trucks,
but
and
more importantly, not maintained for that.
no.
condition.
The tires are rounded, bald, like a motorcycle tire, And she calls it the Palmdale 500 because that's who the cops are out there are looking for. Because
Sure.
a car like that doing 55 is completely, that's not safe. They're
yeah.
drifting over the lines and everything else.
Oh, absolutely.
But once you get past the first, whatever that turnoff is to Palmdale, that first
Oh,
stop
yeah,
sign, it's only like break it into thirds going to Newcomb's.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get past the first third, smooth sailing.
Yeah, natural
It's
selection.
But it's like the gates because of everything you said. Nobody's coming
Right, there's no
from
purpose.
there unless they're you or one of your people, another bike, another rider, another driver. It's almost what you're talking about already, which is why
It
we
is,
go
it's
there.
close.
It's just not actually officially sanctioned that way.
My frustration is I'm too far. Like, people come in from all over the country or world. They're at my shop. Like, where can we go drive? And I'm like, Orange County. We are so far.
Yeah.
From the good.
It's with traffic and how much it sucks around there. It's literally like we were talking about the other morning. 2 hours. You can go to Julian, Great Roads, Angeles Crest, Malibu.
Yeah.
And you just choose whichever one. You're gonna either have a crappy drive getting there, or you go so early. You go have fun, but like when I left a week ago Friday from there, it was like 12:30.
Yeah. Yeah, we all stayed very late that day. We were
2
hanging.
hours to go 45 miles.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm excited that car has air conditioning, it was over 100 degrees on parts of the
Yeah.
drive, and it was like car's like, and then your left
And you're
leg,
sitting still, I'm sure.
your left leg sit, and then you're like, oh, where is it? You ever sit so long in the car that for a second you can't, and the pedals are all kind of the same size. You're like, is that the brake clutch?
Lost it, yeah.
You ever have you ever done that where you look down at your feet, you're like, okay.
It's like saying the same word too many times in a row, and you're like, it's lost all meaning. I have no idea.
Exactly.
I had no idea.
But
you brought some stuff.
yes,
You brought some Auto Kennel swag.
So happy.
And thank you for that. You didn't have to do that. I'll give you your bag back, the cool
oh,
bag.
you
from
can have the
Steve
bag.
McQueen.
You can have the bag.
Got hats, Mrs. Ryan.
That is the coolest hat.
There we go. Let's see. Get one
And if you
shot
don't
here. There we
like
go.
that one, we have more like this one too, Nicole. That's it.
Thanks,
You
man.
look like, you know what? You look, for some reason, you look like Stranger Things. Are you a Stranger Things
I
character
miss
right
It's
now?
a very 80s trucker hat style.
But
That's
with
what
the
it feels like.
headphones and everything. Isn't there a Stranger?
Oh
somebody
yeah,
from
that
Stranger Things
kid,
has
that boy. That's me. Happy Halloween.
Oh, you know what? You gave me a sweatshirt, but I think
It's over on the.
of course.
I opened up
On my
one of the
chair.
shirts. So as I was telling you before,
There we go.
The back.
I'm one of these guys who I like everything on the wall in our shop. Everything I like meaning to stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like stuff just to have stuff.
Correct.
So our friend Torsten Klein, who is now one of the top designers at Porsche, when I met him 20 plus years ago, he was new out of college in Germany, but here working for Mercedes.
Cool.
And Torsten graciously, he's our logo originally over 20 years ago,
That's not focused at all.
but graciously 3 or 4 years ago when we finally started to do some decent apparel, asked Torsten, hey, can you just design something? I don't want it to be in your face about the business, but just the spirit of it. And we talked about it, and he came up, with all the designs with having different cars because, we like Porsches, we like Jaguars, we like Volkswagens, we like all these different kind of cars. So he did all these different ones, and we did this sort of stylized kind of takeoff on Andy Warhol.
It's really neat.
And one of our good friends, Eric, is one of the founders of Obey, and he graciously helped us.
We were talking about that the other day.
Yep.
Andre the Giant.
It's Shepard Fairey.
Shepard Fairey.
And
Steve Vartanian from Singer. Isn't that who we were talking to
Yes.
about it? Yeah. All right. We were saying
painter.
we were talking
Banksy
about
or
because he always meets weird people in New York, like
Yeah,
Banksy
exactly.
and stuff like that. And you're sitting there, and it's typical. You're watching on your computer, and you're yelling at your computer. It's
Yeah.
Shepard Fairey.
That's what I
it's a
do.
friend of yours too. No
Yeah.
less.
Oh, I mean, Shepard Fairey by no means. I think I saw him once at Obey, but like he's
Oh, right. Of course.
Eric. His name is ironically Eric Singer. Nothing to do with Singer cars. Eric, I've known for probably 25, 30 years. I met him and his son at a car show. And over the years, I've sold cars for him. It's funny, I went through his whole automotive
Resume.
chrysalysis, metamorphosis where, he hated Porsches for one point because the motor broke and he was so pissed. He sent the parts to Charles Schwab, who was the Porsche North America CEO.
Charles Schwab.
He sent
for
them.
a while. It's
As
not
in
different Charles
Talk
Schwab.
to Chuck.
In the early 2000s, the head of Porsche Cars North America's name was Charles Schwab. Nothing to do.
With the
See,
investment
I've already
firm.
used to it. It's normal
Yeah,
to me.
he keeps
It's-
looking at me like. With
Yeah, no, I know. I
So-
keep looking at the screen. No, you're adorable.
He had a 993, and they had a propensity for exhaust valve issues, and his exhaust valves broke, and it was a very expensive fix. And he was so frustrated, and he's very mechanical. He took the broken parts, and he got no response from Porsche Cars North America. They're still in Atlanta at that point, and he sent all the parts labeled to the CEO.
That's nuts.
He never. That's who he is, but he never got a response. So his response was, no more Porsches. So he went this whole Corvette route.
Oh my.
Anything but he even bought the vintage cars. He bought a vintage Camaro, which he still has. Since then, he's come back. But part of selling he had a white, really pretty 97 993 narrow body that was beautiful. White, black. His cars he's like one of my favorite people to buy used cars from.
Did you know it's a good car?
It's so good.
Clean.
It's like
Clean,
there's-
maintained.
He's just
good record.
So good. He's great. Anyway, we helped him sell that car because it was his big leap. He was working for Red Sand or one of these surf apparel companies, and he sort of put all the chips in one basket with kids in college and sold everything and started Obey with 3 other friends of his.
Wow.
He's a cool guy to get on
That's
here.
cool.
He's a really
that's what I'm thinking from
Yeah.
really
from an
neat
artistic
guy.
standpoint.
And
I'd love to
he's
talk
well, he's
to him.
funny because he's the buyer. So every time I go there, he's like, "These are all the art guys and all the young hipsters. I'm just the old guy who dresses relatively poorly, except for wearing their clothes."
stuff. Oh, that's
He
so
knows.
funny.
I
But,
can't wait to talk to him.
Yeah, and he told me the whole, having someone like Shepard Fairey as part of their brand isn't that easy, because he's
Yeah.
the counterculture of who he is against it. So they're
of course.
bailing him out of jail, and they're doing corporate thing. Can you imagine your corporate byline setting aside funds to bail out your your main artist? Anyway, he'd be a fun
say, it
person
sounds
to
pretty
talk
familiar.
with. But anyway, and that was one of the early relationships with him, which turned into, I said, Eric, I got to make clothes that just don't look like crap, And he kind of warned me that the clothes they make aren't made for people of my build. And it was true.
Well, they are. They're like
But
American
they're great
Apparel
for
and
you
stuff.
guys.
Yeah.
You guys
They're all
are
fitted.
more the healthy size. But anyway, so.
But life did this to us. We're 90 pounds lighter. I'm 50 pounds lighter. She's 40 pounds lighter than we were
No
when we
way.
met. Can you believe that?
Wow. How long ago was that you met?
8 years ago. Well, this is all from health stuff, but 8 years, over 8 years ago.
Stressful dad, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sure.
Paul, thank you for being here.
Thanks
I
for
hope
having
that you'll
me.
come back because I feel like we didn't even scratch the surface. I
Oh,
mean, we
yeah.
talked a little bit about some things, but not even anything that I really wanted to yet. And we're out of time.
I'd love to come back. And be around.
Please do. I love getting to know the people behind the places I love,
sure.
and you're top on that list. So thank
And
you.
I hope you come back to Breakfast Club too because I
Yeah.
really enjoyed
Oh, we
talking
will.
to you there
Yeah.
as well.
Good excuse to go drive.
Yeah.
And we should go down to the next lazy. We were going to come this month, and something else came up, and we didn't go. So we should
So
go
this,
to August.
the next one is August. This coming. Let's see, what's today? Tuesday.
It's this month, right?
it's-
and it's this week.
this weekend.
Yeah,
Saturday.
that's awesome.
Well,
I'll
we
have
see
to
you
send
there?
an email out. Yeah. I better send an email out.
maybe.
I
so
will
we'll
be
see you this
there.
weekend if there is one.
It will be. It'll be this Saturday. Is that the 11th?
Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's figure the 7th, 8th, 9th. Yeah, I think that's right.
So this Saturday, 9 a.m. till whenever.
Yeah, it should be the 11th.
Come get your breakfast burrito.
It's always a good time though, and it's always good people. And
What's
how's
all
the
the people
construction
in it?
next door?
It's done.
Oh,
Really?
good.
I mean, there's people moving in. I can't imagine.
Oh, so
spending-
like the fences and all that stuff. It's all
gone. It's
great.
done. There's like people living there.
It's
Yeah.
been
Which is
probably
weird.
6 months since our last one, and
I've-
it was still going.
The last one, 3 people who've already moved in came over, and they're like, "Oh, this is so convenient. I've been following you." And I'm like,
Great.
oh, "Well, do me a favor. Just do you have a day job? Like, not hang out all day?
Yeah.
Like, oh, good. I work out of home. Like,
Oh shit.
no, but
Maybe they buy a
all-
car.
It's all the people who come. I mean, we're still the same in the shop, and fortunately, all the neighbors there have fun things to look at. But it's all of you guys who come and make it, a party.
Thanks, man.
So
Thanks,
I
dude.
love it.
Makes
love it
so
too.
much
It's like
fun.
Cars and Coffee, and I don't have to go anywhere.
It's nice.
I don't have to get up early. I just show up.
It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing.
Oh, we know what you mean.
All right, everybody. Let's see. Tomorrow, Curie Terrell is going to be here. He's a YouTuber. He was not on the schedule. Somebody else we had has a deadline for a script they're writing, and we got Curie, and I'm kind of excited about it because he's trying to do. He's pushing a positive agenda, which is awesome to me,
Yeah.
and he's trying to do some cool stuff. I think I think Jim, who actually booked him, said he's trying to be like the white kid Oprah. Now I don't know exactly if that's what, but I see him doing a lot of red carpet stuff. I watched some of his videos, and they're funny,
Yeah.
and he's nice, and I think he'll probably nerd out a little bit about what
I'm
we've got
stoked to
going
talk
on
to
here.
him too. Yeah.
But what I could see is if it goes well, like, oh, we could have Curie out on the street doing a thing. You know what I mean? Could be a correspondent for this show, et
Cool.
cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see
We'll
how
see.
it goes. But he's here tomorrow. Thursday, we've got Alfred Hopton. He's coming back, right? He's
Great.
been here before. And
Yes.
then, then Breakfast Club. And then Lazy Auto Kennel Gathering on Saturday.
Yay.
And that's this week.
Cool.
Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having
Thanks for
me.
We
coming
love
up.
you. You're like
fun.
seriously kindred spirits. We hit it off when we started
Absolutely.
talking last
Yeah.
week.
Absolutely.
Lots
I
of
dig
love.
it.
I
I love you, Mrs. Ryan, so much. We love all of you at home, and we will be back tomorrow. That's it. See you later. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was cool.
That's where you talk about everything or nothing, however it works.